Welcome to the Perry K-8 school. We are the Sharks, just so you guys know. Our brand is up here. We are continuing to brand our school. We appreciate everyone down here who has helped make this happen. We are not exactly sure who you are, but we really, really appreciate all of this. At our school, we have a school vision. I just want to read to you that vision. The Perry K-8 school is a community working together to prepare our students for successful futures. We develop strong relationships with families and students to provide the best education for every child, every day. Our focus is to academically and socially advance our students through innovative experiences designed to positively promote the learning of the whole child. I've highlighted successful futures. I've highlighted to provide the best education for every child every day. And I've highlighted innovative experiences and the whole child. This experience, this STEM week, is doing all of those things. So we appreciate you all making that happen. At our school, we also have dug into an instructional focus. I'm also going to read you our instructional focus. We provide opportunities for all students to explain their thinking with evidence, both orally and in writing. Our 4th and 5th graders are working hard every day to do that. This STEM week experience fits in perfectly with our instructional focus. These opportunities for our kids allow them to talk, to think, to experiment, and to explain their thinking. So we very much appreciate all of you helping us to achieve our vision and our instructional focus. Thank you very much. More importantly, you're going to hear from 2 of our 8th grade leaders. We have Jessica Benoit and Meggie Richard, which are going to explain to you why they love STEM, and they're excited to be doing this all week. So thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Buenos dias,
Bonjour.
and welcome to the Perry School.
My name is Meggie Richard, and I'm in the 8th grade.
My name is Jessica Benoit, and I'm in the 8th grade as well.
We are both so excited about STEM Week.
But wait, Meggie, what is STEM?
STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
So by science, you mean our body structure, like how our muscular system allows us to do things like dab and millywalk?
Yeah, but then that leads us to technology. Because how can we do all that without music from our cell phones or computers or beats?
Right, and now that you mentioned cell phones,
Selfies! And Jessica, you take the T from Savin Hill to Broadway, then you hop on the 11 to the Perry, right?
Exactly, and thanks to the civil and mechanical engineers of Boston, I get to school on time.
Right, and with mathematics, you're able to tell time and follow directions to get to school on time like me, unless the T's late.
And thank goodness for those engineers we were just talking about.
So we understand that STEM is about innovation and critical thinking.
What we don't understand is why there are not more women in these fields.
Right, or why there aren't more people in STEM fields from my country, Haiti.
Or my countries, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Guatemala.
But lucky for us, educated, diverse females, we can be the face of STEM now and in the future.
We encourage all students of the School of Students here today at Perry and throughout the city of Boston to join us and be the next names and faces of STEM. Thank you all for being here.
We would now like to introduce our Mayor of Boston, Mayor Walsh.
You ladies did an incredible job. How about a nice round of applause again? And I want to thank Principal Rose for letting me come by the school today. I want to thank Superintendent Tommy Chang as well, who's here with us today. And I'm going to introduce Mike O'Neill in a minute. How's everyone doing today? Now, what grades? Hello, Mr. Murphy. How are you? What grades are here? 4th grade. Raise your hand. 5th grade. Anyone else? With a couple 8th graders here. Anyone else? So why am I here today? Any idea why I'm here? Yes. To introduce STEM Week, yes. And we know we just heard a little bit what STEM Week is, right? What else can you tell me about STEM Week? Why is it important? Yes, what else? Tell me something else.
STEM helps us learn more about science, technology, and engineering.
Why is it important to learn about STEM instead of just, I know it's good for your grades, but why else is it important? Tell me. Yell it out. And let me, why else do you think it's important to learn STEM? Like, what's the real, tell me some other reasons. Yes. Yeah. What else? Now, does anyone like football? Who likes football? Do you think that if the commissioner of the NFL took a STEM class, he would know that those footballs weren't deflated? Huh? Right? Am I wrong? We should send him an invitation here so he can learn. It's STEM Week in Boston. Let me just thank you guys and ladies for your answers. I just want to thank a few sponsors today. I want to thank MIT. I want to thank I2 Learning. I want to thank MathWorks. I want to thank Vertec. Jeff is here from Vertec. I want to thank Peter Lynch and the Lynch Foundation. I want to thank the Boston Foundation. I want to thank everyone that's here today. If I didn't mention you, that doesn't mean we don't love you. I want to thank you. I already thanked your principal. I want to thank your teachers. How about a round of applause for your teachers? This week we have 30 schools that are going to be part of STEM Week. Over 6,000 students, just like all of you here in this room today. Starting today until Friday, we're going to have regularly scheduled classes. They're going to replace some of the other classes to have hands-on STEM curriculum. So I think that's pretty awesome. This program is developed by MIT and other STEM leading organizations, some who are with us today. For the adults in the room, our students are going to be tackling real-world problems and experiencing how STEM education can help their day-to-day lives, something that's really important. I think that a lot of our young people that are in our schools, they have a vision for what they might want to do when they get older. By creating this classroom learning, it's something that will help them on that path. You know, it's important for us, and Jeff, if you talk to Jeff Leiden from Vertec, he'd tell us that we need scientists, we need engineers, we need a lot of people to do a lot of great things. So it's important for us to make sure that we start this at a very young age so that we can have our young people prepared as they move forward. Our future entrepreneurs and designers and engineers are sitting in this classroom. Even some of our coaches, and when you think about sports, I jokingly talked about sports, but even sports is changing. If you watch the coaches now on the sideline and players, it's more technology driven. Yesterday, Bill Belichick, he was angry, and he had a pad, and in that pad he had the game, and in the game he was talking about how to use science for the game for sports. So it's so important. Our whole world has changed, and it's important that our young people have that education to keep up with that changing world. As students in our middle school, it's a great time for you guys and girls to learn. This is the time to learn what you can do in your class. When I went to school, and I gave a shout out to Mr. Murphy, and I see Miss Murphy over here. His dad and myself, we went to St. Margaret's, and we didn't have this. We learned science, but we didn't learn it the same way you're learning it. So when you graduate 8th grade, you're so much ahead of where we were when we graduated 8th grade. And that's important, especially for today. So I know that we're going to be building all kinds. You're going to be building some things. You know what you're going to be building? Any ideas what you're going to be doing with this? Have you heard any of that stuff yet? Yeah. Yell it out. Yep, filters. What else? Anyone? How about you guys? Any answers? I think you're going to be building some monsters, some lunar colonies. What's a lunar colony? Oh, thank you. So we learned something today. Okay. I'm just asking the question because the press is going to ask me later on, so I need to know what's going on. But, you know, STEM education is so important in our city as we move forward here. Last week we had the grades come out for the city of Boston, level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we have 46 schools in level 1 and 2. It's the highest number we've had probably ever in the city of Boston. What we're doing with 6,000 young people in our city this week is really helping them advance their education. There's a lot of great things happening in public education. We might not always read about or hear about it on TV or in the paper, but if you get a chance today to walk around and talk to these young people, you're going to see the great things that are happening in our school. They're happening because we have great partners, both public and nonprofit partners. We have great foundations like the Lynch Foundation who are so supportive to all of our schools in our city. It doesn't matter who it is, they're there for our school, so I want to thank you for that. We're committed in Boston to be a leader in STEM education for all our students here in the city and beyond. And when I said who likes football, almost every kid raised your hand. So sports is competitive, right? Education's competitive too. So I want to make sure that you're my team. We need to make sure that Boston is the best school in the United States of America, best school system in the world. And because of what you're doing this week, you're going to be helping me be part of that. So I want to thank all the students that are here today for the great work you do. So let's clap for the students. Give them a round of applause. Now I'd like to introduce somebody who loves the schools in Boston. He's a member of the Boston School Committee. He is the chairman of that school committee, and his job is to make sure that he pushes me and pushes Superintendent Chang and the principals to make sure that we continue to be the best district, not just here in Massachusetts, but in the state. So how about a nice round of applause for Chairman Michael O'Neill from the Boston School Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I loved your talk. You know, you're doing a great job as mayor. Almost through the first term, there's no question, this is going to be 15, 20 years for you. But if you're looking for a career change down the line, I can see you as a teacher in our schools, the way you relate to our young people, the way you engage with them, right? Wouldn't he be an outstanding teacher? He would, right? And we don't make that offer to Commissioner Gardell, by the way. So, but congratulations. You are such a leader for us and how you drive us to improve the schools across the entire district, and we love working with you. So thank you, Mayor, for your support for the schools. Also want to thank Jessica and Medji, right? Were they outstanding this morning? You know, wonderful young ladies. It's no surprise they're in 8th grade here. Next year they want to go to the John D. O'Brien School of Math and Science. Why? Because they both love math. So how cool is that to hear that from our 8th graders, how engaged they are in their STEM education, how they're looking forward to continuing that into high school and college and beyond. So wonderful job, ladies. You did a great job. Principal Perry Rose, we're delighted to be here. Thank you for hosting us today. And along with all the partners that the mayor just mentioned, I just want to briefly say that the school committee 2 years ago approved a strategic plan, 5 key points that we're focused on. Then working with the mayor, we hired Superintendent Chang to implement that plan, and he has been intently focused on it as he develops his implementation plan and does it. And this is a perfect example. This STEM week is a perfect example of it. So what are the 5 things the school committee is driving towards? 1, improve student outcomes. 2, improve school quality, and the mayor mentioning 46 schools now, level 1 or 2 in Boston, the most we've had in years, is a perfect example of that. The 3rd is strong district leadership with high-quality, action-oriented teachers and staff, and our students see that throughout the year. They're certainly going to see it this week on the exciting, innovative STEM education for 6,500 students across our district, 6th to 8th graders. 4th is effective resource allocation. We have to be very careful with our funding and how we allocate our resources. And the last is greater community investment. And the partners who are here today, and the mayor just named them all, are the perfect example of that. We're doing as best as we can for 128 schools and our 56,000 students across the district, but it's working with partners who help us create these innovative and exciting programs that allow us to take new ideas and new technology and new education to our students across the district. And they're learning. They love technology. They want to know this. I was talking with a couple of fifth graders down here before here, right guys? And asked them who watched the Patriots game yesterday, and only a couple of hands went up actually from the ladies in the second row. The guys in the front row hadn't watched it, and when I said why, they said we were outdoors. Loved it. They're outside. We were playing football, we were playing soccer. No, they were playing Pokemon Go. So that's what they each said, right? Because they love technology. So between our students who love technology and quite frankly know a lot more about these than we do, they teach us at their age, up at 8th grade and through the high schools and college students. That's who we turn to learn from. It's a new day and age. Our employers in the city want our students to have different skills, and that's what these students will be learning thanks to the help of all of our partners. So thank you for being here, to the partners in the room for pushing us in our thinking and allow us to continue to improve the educational opportunities for all of our students. And now I'll hand it over to our superintendent, the man who is leading the charge across our entire district, Superintendent Tommy Chang.
Thank you, Chairman O'Neill, and thank you, Mayor, for your comments. And students, good morning. Good morning. It's great to see young people first thing on a Monday morning. Unfortunately, I like to joke that the city is not always as happy when the Patriots lose, but we know we'll win next week. It'll be a comeback. Tom Brady is coming back next week. I think he's coming back today, right? Yeah. So, Principal Rose, thank you for having us and hosting us today. Thank you, Ethan, for your leadership. If it wasn't for your leadership, 6,000 young people in this city would not experience what they're about to experience this week. So thank you for your leadership. Young people, I want to ask you a question. How many of you are interested, when you grow up, to have a job that may be related to STEM? Raise your hand if you're interested. Okay. I want to base my comments about why this is so important, why a career in STEM is so important, especially the young people in Boston. And I had some other comments about why STEM is so important, but I think the mayor did a wonderful job asking you guys the questions, and you guys already shared with the room why STEM is so important now. But I want to explain why it's so important for you guys to be in a STEM-related job, okay? So, STEM occupations are growing at a pace greater than non-STEM jobs. According to U.S. Department of Commerce, STEM careers are growing at 17%, and that's compared to only 9.8% for non-STEM jobs. And STEM-related jobs also pay much higher. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, workers are playing such important roles in America right now and the world. And in BPS, we want to help you be ready for those jobs, those careers. Our president, President Obama, he says this: science is more than a school subject or a periodic table or the properties of waves. It's an approach to the world. It is a critical way to understand and explore and engage the world around you, and then have the capacity to change the world. What's also really important, currently, right now, the people who are in STEM jobs, they don't reflect the diversity that is in this room. I want to share something that's interesting to you. The New York Times recently published an article that revealed some troubling truths about the medical industry, okay? All of you, I know, go visit the doctors all the time. Studies have shown that children of color are found to be provided less care than as compared to their counterparts. And some researchers believe this may be caused by false stereotypes, or doctors may empathize less with patients who may be in a race different than theirs, perhaps subconsciously. Recent statistics show that 4% of our country's doctors are black, and we have about 12% of our population is black in our country. And a report from UCLA recently showed that the number of Latino physicians is actually decreasing in our country. My mom and dad came to this country from Taiwan. And I remember when I was young, my mom and dad always wanted to go to a doctor that spoke Chinese or Mandarin, or Chinese or Taiwanese, Mandarin or Taiwanese. And I remember having to translate for my mom or dad when I was a very young age. And I didn't understand all the words, but I tried my best to translate for my mom and dad because they wanted a doctor that reflected their identity as well. We have such a rich city, a city that is so diverse, a city that is diverse linguistically, racially, culturally. All of you bring your identity to school every day, and we need you to bring your identities to STEM-related careers. This is why this week's work is so important. Our nation is desperate for young people like you to be the doctors, the engineers, the scientists, the innovators of tomorrow. In BPS, we're closing opportunity and achievement gaps, and it's because of you guys and your intelligence and what you guys will do for our city that is going to make the biggest difference. So, we're here to celebrate this great week. I hope you guys are just as excited as me. As a former science teacher, I'm so excited that 6,000 kids are going to be doing science this week. Why don't you give yourselves a round of applause first? And then I have the honor of introducing Ethan, who is the founder of I2. Ethan is the one that's bringing Science STEM Week to Boston Public Schools. And just very quickly, Ethan began his career as a playwright, I understand. But then he worked in finance and then started a software company. So he went from being a playwright to someone who developed a software company. And he grew up in Boston, went to Roxbury Latin School. And he has 3 kids, including a middle school daughter who has inspired him to start I2. So Ethan, thank you for your leadership. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Chang, and thank you all for being here. I know the main event is actually going to see the kids in the classrooms, and if you're at all like me when you were in when I was in 4th and 5th grade, this is starting to get a little dull, and it's probably wanting to head off to the classroom. So with that, we will talk more about STEM Week and where we want to go, but we're going to stage the classroom visits in order. So before the first one, I would like to do one more round of thank yous to some of the key people who really made this work. This has been a wonderful partnership in this city between the schools, the corporations, the research organizations, and the philanthropists. And that is what's really made this thing happen at the scale that we're talking about. There are many people to thank, but let me start with the Roxbury Latin School, which ran the first STEM Week in 2013 and hosted 300 of the teachers this summer for the professional development. To Vertex, who this Friday on their day of service sent volunteers with chicken legs, marshmallows, and Arduino boards to schools throughout the city and help teachers set up classrooms. To MIT, specifically the Edgerton Center, who developed so many of the courses and whose passion for learning inspires me and my colleagues every day. But I have to say there's a person and an organization and a group that I can think this would not have happened without them. The first is Katie Everett at the Lynch Foundation. Katie Everett is a doer. When she sees something she believes in, no matter how big or impossible, she doesn't stop until it's done. The second is an organization. Through my career, which you've heard has been quite varied, I've learned it's less important what you do and more important who you do it with. We've had a wonderful partner in the MathWorks. They have been incredibly supportive and engaged throughout this process, and they've gotten all of us to achieve far more than we would have had alone. And finally, perhaps most importantly, the educators and the teachers in Boston. Their hard work, their courage, their dedication to each of you is what ultimately, more than anything, will make this week a success. So thank you to all of you. With that, we will start the classroom visits. I think we can dismiss the 4th and 5th grade. The mayor, the superintendent, and some of our partners can go to the first classroom. Melissa Higgins from I2 will lead the tour. The rest of us will stay here. We'll talk a little bit more about STEM weeks, hear from our partners, and then we will do the 2nd and 3rd tours after that. So thank you all very, very much.